Hey, what's going on, YouTubers? It's me and your boy Bishop Mike right here on the fly, here in the, here in the home of Third Ward, y'all. So we're kind of like we're kind of been going through some. We're kind of like on a little debatable right now. We're kind of like saying which scripture do should we go with, either the Great Commission or the storms?
Yeah, and we finally came up with one, and I just kind of thought, well, the storm, because Chris was giving me he gave me some good insight. People, they still think they're going through the storm, even though, God's carrying them through the storm, even though God's putting them through the storm, because, the storm is actually the work of God. God is actually putting you through the storm, but see, the devil is the one that's causing it to happen. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if you hear me or not. The devil's causing it to happen. Because remember in the book of Job, and God told him, what about my servant Job? And he said, there's no one greater. He says he's never done the same sin twice. So then he said, the enemy went and he checked in on Job, and he said, well, I can get him. And he came back to God and he said, hey man, he said, you told me about Job, let me go ahead and get him. And so God said, go ahead and get him, but he said, do not touch Job. And everything around Job went to hell. Everything around Job went crazy. And so in 35, what it says, Mark 4:35, I'm going to go ahead and read the scripture, and Chris can back it up on what I'm saying. Jesus calms the storm. That day when evening came, he said to the disciples, let us go over to the other side. Let us go over to the other side. Show me I'm pretty. Let us go to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along, just as he was in the boat. There was also other boats with him. A furious squall came over, and the waves broke over the boat, so it was nearly swamped. And Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? He got up and rebuked the wind and said to the waves, Quiet, be still. Then the wind died, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? Amen. Listen, to me, I'm going to let Chris get into what he thinks about, his interpretation of the message. But to me, there's a couple of good points in here. It says, let's go over to the other side. So that's like maybe a task that you're going through. Where he says, hey guys, let's go to the disciples, let's go to the other side. Maybe that's a task that you're going through. Maybe it's a new job. Maybe it's you're going through school. Maybe it's you're having troubles at work. It's a task. It's a task that you're going through, and so we're trying to get through the task. And so he says, let's go to the other side, because I know if I can get through this task, there's something on the other side for me. So I have to persevere. I have to go through these things on this side. And so it's a task. And so they left the crowd alone. And then the storm came. So the storm was so great and powerful that they thought they was going to perish and die, right? The storm was so great. And Jesus is sleeping. He's sleeping. He's sleeping. He's sleeping in the front of the boat. Remember on the movie Titanic, they were all, when the wind was blowing and stuff. Well, Jesus is down below. He's sleeping. He got a cushion. He's relaxed. He's not thinking about anything at all. He's not thinking of anything at all. He's just relaxed and just chilling. And they came running down there to him, and they said, don't you care if we drown? Don't you care if we die? We're going to die, and you're going to be down here sleeping when we die, and you're going to die with us. And Jesus says to him, you guys have no faith. When you're going through that task in life and you're losing faith, when you're going through that task in life and it looks like there's no end in sight, where it seems to be going on and on and on and on and on and on forever and ever, and it doesn't quit. When you're going through what you're going through in life, whatever it is, you have to know that Jesus is just a call away, for one, because right there he was a call just right down the way from the disciples. To you, he's just get on your knees and dip and pray to him. He's right there, just a call away, because when you need him, he's going to come, and he'll come say, peace, be quiet, be still and know that I'm in control. Do you have no faith? This comes in my mind, that poem footprints in the sand, when the guy he was going through life. And as he looked back upon his life, he saw that when he was going through troubling times in his life, that Jesus was there that they only saw one pair of footprints. And he actually was talking to God. And he asked God, he said, God, why is it that when I was going through these tough times, all these different things, all these storms in life, all these valleys that I was going through, these times when I was down, where I was depressed, all these times when I was down, I was dealing with alcoholism. These times when I was down, I was dealing with drug use. These times that I was down, I was dealing with family issues. These times when I was down, you weren't there for me. Why is it that there was only one set of footprints there? And God said, son, it was during those times that I carried you. Sometimes when the storm comes, God just wants to see your level of faith. Sometimes when the storm comes, God just wants to see how you turn your situation around. Sometimes he's going to do all the work, but he wants to see your faith level to see how you're going to react. I remember when I used to play football back in the day, we used to go through all those drills and running in the hot sun, 2-a-days and all this stuff. All that stuff was, of course, everybody thought it was to get you in shape, but it wasn't. It was to get your mind mentally prepared to not quit. And that's what Jesus is telling them here. Peace, be still. Why are you so afraid? You have no faith. Don't be afraid. Be prepared. Have your mind prepared. Have faith and know that whatever it is you're going to go through, I'm going to be right there with you. And I'm going to take you to the finish line. What do you think?
So, just going off those scriptures from what my friend was saying, Bishop Patterson, we look at those scriptures and we ask ourselves this question: how long are those storms going to last? How long am I going to be in those storms? You know what, God? I can't go through it much longer. I want to just go. I want to throw in this towel so bad. But we have to be still and know that He's in control, and know that He's God. And at times when we want to even when those storms feel hard, even when we want to say, you know what, it's too hard, it's too tough, I want to quit so bad, my faith is so intolerable right now, I just want to quit. God, you're not going to carry me through. But He's right there to carry us through the end. After the storm had come, and the disciples looked at him like, did that just really happen? Did He just tell the storms to be quiet? Did He just tell the wind to be quiet and just tell the seas just to cease? Yes, He did. Because you know why? Jesus had all power within His hands. And the moment where we have that faith of a mustard seed, we can tell certain obstacles in our lives, certain mountains be cast over yonder. But the question is this: where's your faith?
Yeah, where is your faith, man? And really, this verse is about just a level of faith. Just keep the faith up. Just don't quit. Persevere. Whatever you're going through, just know that the victory is on the way. Just know that God's grace is sufficient enough for you. Just know that His mercy endures forever. Just know that He loves you. If you have those three things, grace, mercy, and love, you can't be defeated. Just know that God's waiting for you, and Jesus is going to carry you.
I kind of love this scripture, because if I had to look back over some storms in my life, and I had to ask myself the same question: God, these are some tough storms. I don't know if I'm going to make it through. But I had to learn to get down on my knees and say a prayer that says, you know what, God, I can't do this. Guide me through this storm. Sometimes we have to learn that the battle isn't ours. It's His. All He wants us to do is just to take our positions and just to give Him the praise, the glory, and honor where He rightfully deserves. And sometimes it's a test of our faith as well. Sometimes we say, well, the devil's testing our faith. Well, what if Jesus is testing your faith as well, to see how where's your level of faith at as well? If we know in Hebrews 11:6 it says, without faith it's impossible to please God. So without faith, it's impossible to please God. My question is, where's your faith?
You know, like in Hebrews chapter 8, I believe it is. I was preaching on it the other day, if I'm not mistaken, when we talked about at church. I was preaching about the church because it talked about uh, 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 God rewards your faith and sees it as righteousness and grace. With grace, that's what He does, right? So, you know, me, because I try to be a scholar of the Bible. I'm not really, but I try to be. That's the exact same thing that He told to Abraham. He said, "I'll see your right. Your faith has righteousness." You know, although there's two separates. You know, the Old Testament and the New Testament, and to me, it always ends up at grace. I don't know why. You know, the Old Testament was the laws. And to me, in the New Testament is grace, and then you have the four
Gospels.
yeah, the four Gospels in the middle. You know, to me it always ends up at grace because, you know, He gave Abraham grace in the beginning of the Bible, and then He gives us that exact same thing when Paul's talking to us and teaching us how to live as Gentiles, and I think that's just so powerful. And so just keep your faith level up and just know that the storm you're going through, you will defeat it and you will overcome.
To sum this up, y'all, whatever storms that you may be going through, you have to tell yourself the storm is not over now. The storm is over now. Every hurt, every level of faith that you may be going through, tell yourself that the storm is over now and that Jesus is going to carry you on the other side. Until then, y'all, may the Lord be with you and that He guides you through your storms and that you come out victorious on the other end. Those are my 2 points right there.
And grace, mercy, and love to you all.